Hey there, Facebook friends and family. It's Patricia Hayes here with the 15-minute Advocate. Hope you all are doing well today. It's another beautiful day here in the Austin, Texas area. Very windy, as you can see, so don't make fun of my hair flying all over my head. But again, we don't like to waste any time here with the 15-minute Advocate, so we're going to jump right in. Today's topic is making the most of your advocacy days. And if you don't know what an advocacy day is, you'll also hear of it being like the lobby day. So, and basically what it means, it's when a group has put together a day, a focused day of activity at the state legislature, the Capitol, in DC. You can do lobby or advocacy days, at local government entities, things like that. But the point is, it's normally sponsored by a group, focused on a particular issue. And the idea is to focus your energies for everybody to show up, pretty much at the same time on a certain day. To do certain things. So you may call it a lobby day, you may call it an advocacy day. It just depends on, who the sponsor is and what the guidelines are for the activity. So here's the thing. 3 main things for, if that is really going to bug me, I'm so sorry. 3 main things for advocacy days, whether you are the attendee or whether you are the creator or the sponsor. Most of the time, people who are sponsoring lobby days or advocacy days, again, like they're associated with an organization, someone who's got, who's getting paid to help put this stuff together. And for the most part, they can do a good job. But don't be fooled. There are still people out there who, they may be very good at their job, but they don't know how to put together a good, strong advocacy day that'll be useful and effective for meeting the organizations and your participants' needs, making sure that you have satisfied people on both ends. So that's why I'm saying that, because we all can still learn something, right? And this is an opportunity for that. And this is based on my years and years of participating in advocacy days and or planning them, for clients and employers and things like that. And there's 3 main things, right? The first one, or shall I say this, it's clear agenda, consistent messaging, and focused activity. And so let's go back to number 1. Number 1, a clear agenda. What do I mean by a clear agenda? This is going to answer the question of what's the point? Why do you want me to come? Why do I care, right? When someone can see a clear agenda up front, it means that you have laid out what's the purpose of this day, what you're going to get done, and the time frame and all those things. Now, it may seem very silly or simplistic of me to say, well, shouldn't everyone just spell that out? You would be surprised at the people who leave that crucial information out. I have seen something recently where there was a lobby day for an entity that was asking people from all over the state to come participate. And I'm like, okay, cool, let me see. I got the, invitation, and I'm like, okay, let me see what's about. Well, when I click on the information and go to the sponsor page, and it doesn't say very much more than what I originally saw in the email, which is, hey, we're having this day on this date at the Capitol from, I'll make up a time, I don't know, 10 to 4. With very skeletal information about what's going to happen during that time. Like, basically, when I say that, I mean meet at this time, lunch at this time, adjourn, and then some sketchy, I won't even say details, but words in between. Now, having been one of those people, again, who has sponsored, helped develop and create lobby days, advocacy days for over 20 years, that is not something that makes me go jump up and say, oh, I need to go down there and make sure I plan my schedule to do that. If you are the one who is creating that day, remember and recognize that if you want to entice people to be able to come, because just because they're a member of your organization or they care about your issue is not an automatic to the next step, which is, am I willing to invest my time, particularly if it involves travel at my expense, to do this? Okay? Because bottom line is, people still make decisions about what it is they want to do and whether it's worth their time, whether it's worth their resources to invest in it and to participate. And so you cannot take those things for granted. If you are the participant and someone's asking you, you want to look for a clear agenda of what's going to happen that day that goes beyond show up at 10 and we're going to be done by 4. You want to know a few more details, like, are we having a press conference at, 10:30? Are we walking the halls and meeting members? Are we getting recognized in the gallery at 11:45? Are we having a private lunch with a speaker? All of those things are the details that help someone decide whether or not to participate in their advocacy day. And also, quite frankly, will help you have a more successful one, because you want people to walk away with a sense of having accomplished something, not just another networking session, because I can do that on my own. Okay? So, number 1, clear agenda. Number 2, consistent messaging. This is how to say it. So we've got this agenda, and we're like, okay. But if on one page you're saying, yes, we're going to deal with issue Y on this day, and we're going to be talking to members about this, and then on another page you say, yes, but we're only going to be talking about the policy on issue Z, and limited that, well, your messaging's not consistent on what's going to happen. So that might get confusing, particularly again if it's not something that is a general overall of, hey, we're dealing with issue A and starting at the beginning on this, but we're delving down into the details. Well, you may turn away some people, you may turn off some folks, and your messaging is not consistent on what it is you're going to accomplish, what's going to be said, what the expectation. That's what the messaging is about, is also setting an expectation of what's going to happen. Okay? So it's got to be consistent with your agenda, clear. Okay, so we lost our connection there for a second. Let's see. Now we're getting reconnected. I am so sorry about that. So we were in the middle of talking about issue number 2, which is consistent messaging, and why it's so important to have a consistent message, and so that people are kind of clear about what it is you're trying to do and what your point is, right? So this is, how do you say it, and so that people are, again, you got to get the buy-in, and if the messaging is not consistent, if it's off in any way, then again, that's another one of those things. People are actively looking for reasons not to engage. Now that sounds crazy, we're talking about advocacy, but here's the reason why. When folks have a lot of things on their schedule, no matter how important or how much they care about it, they also have competing interests on their time. And so you want to be able to make sure that you're giving a good, clear message about what's going to be happening, what's going to be going on, so that they are willing to, again, invest their time. And once they do, so that they are not disappointed with the time that's been invested. Okay? So you want to make sure that the messaging is clear if you're looking to create a lobby day, or if you're looking to participate one. That's one of those things you're going to look at as to whether or not it's going to be worth the time and effort that you're going to put into it. Thirdly, the last thing is to make sure that there's focused activity. And this is so important, because this is, again, that whole, when you get the little skeletal information piece and it just says, oh, we're going to meet at this time, and then we're going to do some stuff, but without declaring what the stuff is, and then by this time we're going to end. Well, here's the problem. You want to make sure that people have specific things to do. because number one, it helps them feel engaged. It helps them feel connected, and that they've accomplished something. It gives them a sense of accomplishment. If they don't do that, then they're going to talk, you're going to have people saying, negative things or poor things about your lobby day. But if you have engagement, if you have connection, and those things are all in existence, then guess what? Not only are people going to be like glad they came, they're going to go back home and they're going to talk about what a great day they had and how effective they thought things were. So for example, in a recent legislative day that I helped to facilitate, it's one of those things of making sure we lay out, where things are, what's the expectation, laying the groundwork of here's what you're going to do today, bringing in some other people who are related as far as the issues are concerned to come talk to your group. And then saying, okay, look, we're going to be recognized on the floor at X time. So we need to all go to the House gallery so that a member can acknowledge us from the floor and say hi to our group, okay? That makes people feel excited and engaged, especially if this is their first time they've ever done a legislative day or a lobby day. People really get into that. Then it's a matter of, okay, here's what you're going to do from X time to this time, which is please go visit your local legislator's office. Go visit the committee offices of the, if it's education, let's say, that you care about. Break for lunch, come back to do some things, and then sometimes wrap up. That's kind of hard. That takes another level of skill and planning when people have some continued things, but there's always important to have, a good balance of activities where you are getting some instruction, you're getting some engagement, you're getting some discussion, but then also some free time for folks to go do it. Right? That's why they're there. They want to come, express themselves. They want to come give their opinion. They want to go visit some people and engage. And this can be done at any level. I mean, I know my daughter participated in a legislative day, an advocacy day recently for an organization that she's a part of. And these girls were there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock. I mean, you're like, oh my gosh, really, that's a long day. And remember, these were young girls, middle school and high school girls. So it can be done. But how do you do that? You do that by having activity that's focused, and you're moving people and you're keeping them engaged and you're doing stuff. Because trust you me, when they weren't, I was getting a text on my phone, Mom, this is boring, I don't want to do this. And for my daughter, it's funny because she's grown up in the Capitol, right? She literally was practically born there. And so she's been exposed to these types of things on multiple levels at different times throughout her, relatively young life. And so the level of sophistication, you have to make sure that you're doing enough to keep people engaged at all levels, whether it's someone who's brand spanking new and has never been there, to the person to like, this is my 15th, legislative day, my 15th advocacy day, this year, right? Much less, or, if you're doing a certain one every year. So you want to make sure there's enough to keep people busy and engaged so that the folks who aren't experienced can, have enough, hand holding to get some clear direction on what it is to do, when to do it, how to do it, to the experienced person who's like, yeah, okay, I know this. Are we good? What do I need to be? Where do I need to be for a group photo or whatever next? Okay, and then they're going to go off and do their thing, go visit the offices of the people that they know, and do that type of thing. So it's great to build it. And when you have a good, strong advocacy day that's been built up and that's been created, it will do that. And the focused activity is actually good. Now I admit I'm a bit of a rebel because on some things I hate being told exactly what to do and when. But that's again because I've been doing this since I was, 20 something years old. But I recognize the value of different things, particularly when you're working in a group and you want to make sure that people are getting things done to meet the needs of the organization or the issue that you're trying to address. Okay, so that is this. I think that's it. This issue of the 15-minute advocate. And when you want to make the most of your advocacy day, whether you're the person preparing the day or whether you're the person participating in it, you want to look for these three things. Number one, a clear agenda, which basically is, why do I care? What's in it for me? What's the point? I had to look down my notes to make sure I said the same thing from earlier. And then number two, so you got your clear agenda. Then number two, you want to make sure you have consistent messaging as to what's the expectation for the day, what's what you hope to get accomplished, right? Because that gets buy-in from people, and they have an understanding, and that again they're really willing to commit. And then lastly, number three, focus activity. Make sure your people have something to do, because I'll tell you, and especially for someone like me who's, lived and grown up in the Capitol building, doing legislative and advocacy days, if you're not telling me what we're going to do, I'm not coming. Or I may show up for, a very snippet of time to maybe say my hellos, greet a few people, and then I'm out. Okay, and again, that's for someone who's more experienced, but whether it's something that I'm doing for work, or again, it's particularly if it's something that I'm doing on a volunteer basis, you don't want to waste your volunteers' time. Okay, so make sure you give them something to do that is substantive. You want to make sure you're going to get something done. They're going to meet some people. They're going to do something that they talk about when they go back home, which is your whole point, because the more excited they are, the more they talk about it, and that's spreads your message back home, back in the Facebook groups, back in their private conversations with friends and family and their professional associations. That's what you want to do, okay? So that your reach for that advocacy day actually spreads beyond just that day. All right, that is it. I hope that you got some great information from me here today. And don't forget to spread the word about the 15-minute advocate. This is going to get posted, and you can go check it out on patriciavhayes.com on the website. It'll be up on the business page, PVH Consulting Group, for a little bit, and then next week we're moving on, okay? If you are interested in some more in-depth advocacy training, I have the Advocacy Academy. It is a 5-day kind of virtual learning experience, and it doesn't require anything but your phone or your laptop, and a pen and a pencil whenever you're ready. And it's 5 hours basically of pretty intense, focused learning that you can do at your own pace. Once you register and it gets started, then it'll be dripped out to you via email, and you can look at and review the information at your own leisure, and you will get that. So you want more information about that, again, you can check that out on the website and or on the business page, and it's patriciavhayes.com, and PVH Consulting Group is the Facebook business page. All right, look forward to talking to you some more next week on the issue of the 15-minute advocate. Take care. Bye.